Hey everyone, we're going to be doing a nice little Q&A where I get to answer some of your questions and hopefully answers and solve some of the questions that you have as level designers and upcoming designers. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Max Pears, and I hope no matter what time you're listening to this, morning, afternoon, or night, that you're all having a great time and everyone around you is safe. So thank you very much for joining me on today's episode. It's an absolute pleasure to be here talking to you and have you all listening to me. Really do appreciate it, as time is a valid and very limited resource. So I appreciate it and I hope you feel that you'll get something from it. Now, I thought with the kind of period that we're in and also the fact that I haven't done a Q&A in a while, it'd be nice to do that and really get a chance to answer some questions. We've got some new members who've joined who've joined the Discord, so it's great to be able to take it from them as well. So yeah, some really nice stuff. Now, these questions are primarily taken from that of my Discord channel. If you do want to head over to that, you can check on patreon.com/level design lobby to join our great community where you get to chat with me as well as all the other incredible people there. And for all of you who already joined, I appreciate you very much. So thank you again for all your support, because your support is able to help make this, this podcast even better. So I really do appreciate that. Yeah, no, it'd be cool for this one. So we're going to go through a few questions and just try and answer as much as we have. We have got some new ones, but I want to go back to a couple that I haven't answered from a while ago. So we'll just try to do this the best that we all can with it. All right, then. Let's just kick off and go straight to it then. All right. So FT asked a really good question, and he asked what to do if you're making a level without the finalized mechanics. So this does tend to happen at certain points in different projects. It doesn't always happen, but it is definitely something that can happen to you when you're making a game. I'm just going to move slightly closer to the mic so you can all hear this voice better. So back to the question. What will tend to be is you may not have the actual finalized design, but you'll kind of have a rough idea of what the mechanic's going to be along the lines. So with that in mind, you might go make a level with a rough idea. You'll get some information from game design, some kind of direction from where they're heading, and then you'll make some guesstimates from there. Now, it's okay to do this, but it does come with a big risk due to the fact that because I've had to do similar things with this before, it does happen. But what tends to happen with it is you can sometimes be really off, and with what you thought you might be getting as a mechanic might not make it. It can cause some issues. So my best advice to it when doing this, because you will have to revisit these, and just keep that in mind. So I haven't turned off my phone. Makes it pretend that I'm popular. So with these in mind then, team, the biggest things that I can advise with it is for basically you to make your levels with as much information that you can. So don't just go in blind. Do get as much information that you can. Go ahead and make your levels, but do try keep in mind that this is loose here and things are adaptive to change. And also, if, for example, there is a mechanic... let's talk about Deus Ex and imagine we're in development of Deus Ex, okay? They've got that great mechanic where you smash through a wall, right? Say if we were told, okay, this is what's going to happen, you're going to get this mechanic. So we design a level around that. We're told that obviously these mechanics aren't finalized, but this is one that's looking like it'll get through to the end. All right, cool. And then we get so far into it and to be told that this mechanic's been removed. Okay, this can be a real kind of tough moment, but you have to adapt to it. So maybe instead of smashing through a wall, it can be a door. Maybe it can be a vent that they open. So just try and be flexible. So go ahead and make as much as you can, but do try to be flexible in this, because as I said, you are more than likely, when doing it this method, going to revisit your level. So again, it can be done, but just be flexible. Try to gather as much information you can, and also really alert. I'm sure your leads and production will be unaware of it, but drive home that point that this is going to cause time to be consumed later. Like I said, I am sure, because your leads and directors are smart. Your lead and producer are smart and already can see this. But again, just drive home the point that this will cost money later, money and time later, all right? Just make sure that is aware for people to use. All right, so that's the first one done. I hope that helps. Well, let's go to the next one. Okay, I've got this one from Asuro. He goes, I don't know if this can be answered, but what is the pipeline or workflow between environment art and level design, specifically in order to meet the deadline? So tends to go like this. Now, each studio is different. We did a hangout last Thursday for the Discord where we actually got to talk about this. Where in Rockstar, for example, and each studio is different, but Rockstar will tend to will have the environment artist build all of the mission spaces, the world, and then the level designers tend to be more script focused, in which they will script what happens in those spaces, right? Now that's different for, say, working at Ubisoft and CD, where what tends to happen, and it's not just here, there's other places as well, I know Naughty Dog does this as well, but what the pipeline tends to be is you will get your brief from your mission and narrative designers, as well as a rough idea of what the kind of feel and tone is through that of your concept artists. And then you will have like a kickoff meeting with all of them to discuss what kind of is the plan, the flow, the beats, what's important with these. And then that's when you guys will sit down and kind of make some suggestions. Now it's then on the level designer to block that space out. You can go through and block out the overall level. And after that, you'll then go and have a meeting or a sync with your environment artist. You will then discuss, and this is again coming from my perspective, as in when the pipeline is through the level designer. We'll talk a little bit about when it's through the environment artist. But as I said, when you're doing it this way, you'll then have a sync with them to show them what you've got, what roughly is the purpose of each space, how you imagine the space looking. And then, as I've said this in many different times before, really stress to the environment artist, and I do think it's important for you to play it with them. Because of the fact that time is so short, expecting your teammates, whether it be your environment artist, your lighting artist, VFX, all of these other elements, most of the time they're not going to have time to play through everything, which is a shame. So this way, when you're forcing them to sit down with you, forcing sounds bad, but I mean, you've got time designated to it, you're playing through it, they can see it in the point of view of the camera, and they can actually get a clear understanding of how the level works together. Then from this point, you'll be able to highlight to them which spaces are really important to you as an LD, and which spaces are going to be important for them to have their freedom, which can they get away with. And also in this meeting, this is the time where you get to pitch ideas and bounce off one another, because just because you've done the blockout doesn't mean that you've got everything right, that everything's cool. No, it's great because then you guys can spitball ideas between one another and allow you to build a better level because of this. And that's the pipeline through the LD. As I mentioned with someone like Rockstar, you'll then, I imagine, and again, I'm just going from what I've been told, so I'm not sure if this is the exact method. But what I've been told is that you will then have the same as start with narrative and mission beats through this. The environment artist will have already started to build said areas, and from that point there, you'll get the level space that you need. I think you'll go back and forth with the environment artist depending if you need changes, and then you'll script around the space that you've been given. That's a rough area, but tends to be now. I'm sure there are other companies other than Rockstar that just do it. They're just the one that I'm aware of. But a lot of the times through the LD one, the way I mentioned it before, when it goes through the LD, that's how you do it. And that's the way that I've had most of the experience in my career here, team. So yeah, that goes with that one, team.
At Level Design Lobby, we believe everybody has a story to tell. Hobbyist or student, freelancer or veteran, we made it our mission to unite those who share our passion for creating and developing great games. Thanks to our generous Patreon backers, we've been able to do just that. so if you've already pledged your support, thank you. If not, you too can ensure the future of Level Design Lobby, helping us to create even more exciting content, collaborations, interviews, and much more. With awesome perks and rewards, whether you're a seasoned professional or just getting started, you're sure to find something for you. Want to share tips, tricks, and advice with passionate, like-minded developers? Our awesome community Discord has you covered. Fancy practicing your level design, creating strong portfolio content, and having fun? Then try our level design weekends. Or perhaps you want to individually discuss your work, hone your skills, or level up your career? Then consider our one-on-one mentorships. If you share our vision, then go to patreon.com/level design lobby for more information and to pledge your support. Thank you.
All right. Hasim asks question 1, because he's got 2 great questions. When you create a level for your... So the first question, should have made that one better. When you create a level for your portfolio, how much detail is okay? I mean, when do you need to stop? That's a good question. To me, I think it's important to stop when it's clear. You know, when you've got when you can play that and it's clear that what the level is, how it's intended to be played, or if you're not having it where it can be played, it's clear from the walkthrough how it's all laid out. You shouldn't just have an empty shell. It should have clear design intent. One of the best examples I think I can give is if you go through my Blocktober blockout, you'll see that I actually go through this a few times and edit it, not only in Blocktober, but a bit afterwards, because there are things that I think need to be improved. Now, I have stopped it. There is obviously some work with Joss in terms of what we're doing for Environment Pass, but I know there's things that I can definitely improve upon still, but I've chosen to go off that just because to me it's at a good state where it's clear what my design intention is, it's clear what the space is. So that's when I really think it's time to end there, when all your objectives are in, clear reading of what the space is, clear design intention, and that's when you can see it there. Now, you can also spend as much time as you'd like on it. You can go further than this, because sometimes it's good to go further and keep pushing. But it's, like I said, up to you. I understand that there's other projects you want to move on to. Like I said, I know I can go back, or I could go back to the art gallery and still fix things up. There's a few things even now I'm like, oh, if only I had a bit more time. But I know overall the level's still good. I'm proud of it. And there is some great stuff in that level you can see still. So you'll kind of have an inkling on what it is. But those few kind of guidelines will help you with that one, mate. So I hope that helps with you, bud. But I would not have it just be the first pass that you do. That is probably not what you should have it. You should definitely iterate on it a few times. Because what's also great about that when you're doing it for your portfolio is you can see iterations. You know, there's a walkthrough of my art gallery level. And sorry, I mention this one a lot. I just mention it because of the fact that it's important to talk to you about it. Because that is one for a personal piece that's ended up on like my portfolio. And I'm just using it as an example because it's the recent one for me. So I'm just talking from my experience here, team. But yeah, I think when I was doing my video for that, I don't think I know. When I did my video for that, I showed the actual process in through a GIF of, in the video where it starts as the 2D map, and then it goes to the first block out, then then the iteration on top of that, second iteration, and then third iteration. So you can see how it kept growing and advancing. And that's really important because I've mentioned this so much recently, but iteration is so key to being a level designer. So that way they can see how you've improved upon it. So I recommend that is a good point to stop with there. So I hope that helps. His second question then is it okay to share your portfolio without document? I believe by document you're referring to that of a cover letter, I think. So from a cover letter, yes, that's fine. I don't think you need to send cover letters out. Some places will request one, that's fine, but other places won't. So you can still give one even if they don't request one. That's upon you if you feel it is necessary. If you're referring to that of like a level design document or a game design document, yeah, that's fine as well. As I said, to everyone that I review portfolios for, just having a video walkthrough will give you as much benefit as having a design document. Because as I mentioned, portfolios, when someone's roughly going through them for an open vacancy, they've got a lot to go through, right? So they're not going to spend a huge amount of time going through everything. So whether you show some of your design intent through your documentation or through your narrative and your walkthrough, it both gets the same across. I would recommend having one at least, but I don't think you'll get fully marked down as long as we mentioned the earlier points were met, that it is clear, it's clear, and everything you need to do is obvious to the player. You should be fine with that one there, mate. So yes, on to the next one now. Belkio12 asks, what workflow do you usually follow / recommend for us to follow when designing a level? There's quite a few. I know this is a really interesting one because I don't really want to tell everyone how to do it. Like, I can tell you how I do it, but I've also changed my approach a few times, for better, for worse, and all of that. And I think you're going to get to kind of create your own. Like me and my friend Seb, who is another LD with me, we talk about doing paper design, and one small thing that we differ on is he doesn't like to have grid paper. He doesn't like it at all. Well, I do. I think it's really helpful for me. And neither of us is wrong on that one, first and foremost, because the end result, like, Seb's a very good level designer. And, you know, I'm okay, but no. But, like, our levels still turn out well, and we have a slightly different design approach. Same with other friends who I know who don't do paper design at all, who just go straight to block out, delete, move again, delete, move this, and it all goes cool. You'll kind of develop your own kind of workflow as you kind of get through and get into the industry. And I always say it where basically you're still learning at every stage, but I kind of put it like this. As a intern and junior, you're learning everything from everyone. You're taking as much information as you can. By intermediate, you're kind of filtering out what do you want to carry on with, what works for you, what do you think is a good addition to your knowledge, what do you think doesn't help you. And then by a senior, you've kind of, I don't want to say word perfected because I don't think that's true, but you've got a grasp of what works for you as an LD. Now, my flow, and again, I don't want to tell everyone how to do it, but my flow is, firstly, after getting all the documentation side set and understood, I will do a level design document, which allows me to get the beats understood, the objective flow, so that's really easy. I break down the different sections of the level. For example, I think by the time this comes out, it's either Monday or yesterday, the 13th of April, you'll have seen me tweet out a quick design doc that I've done, right? That's there for me to help me understand. After doing that, I will then move on to my research phase. In my research phase, this will then allow me to gather all the references that I need and start to organize how I think the references should go. I really do recommend, I think it's called PureRef. It's a great program. I really love it. It helps me kind of separate my ideas in terms of references into a clean cut area so I can actually start to see which images are important to me. Now, I do recommend this, and everyone who's taken part in the level design weekend will know that I will bang on to you about having 50 images minimum when you're doing your research gathering. Honestly, the more the better. But after I've gathered that amount of images, I will go through and start to separate, okay, which do I actually like the design of, which is going to have an impact on my design. Clear that out, then move on to my 2D map. Now, as I stated there, I use gridded paper. That's just because I understand how important metrics are. And not when I say that, I don't mean Seb doesn't understand that or people who don't use gridded paper. When I say that, I mean that it's so important and it helps me because when I get to use the LD kit pieces that we tend to use, me understanding, okay, on my drawing, I have made this 4 meters wide, we'll put it down. And that way I can start putting it all together very quickly because I know what pieces I need to make. But then it allows me to see, okay, actually this space is too small, this space is too big, and I can start to adjust the metrics there. And again, I've seen this a lot online that people don't like to use paper designs because the reason that they feel that it's too limiting to them. Now, I mentioned that I've changed my workflow. At one point, I did use paper design, but without grid paper. Then used no paper design, just blocked it out. And then switched back to using grid paper now. And the reason I did that is because they help give you a base start. There's nothing scarier than looking at a blank screen or a blank canvas, right? But by having a piece of paper, you can make your edits so much quicker than that in an editor, right? Just quickly rub out a line, draw a new one, versus delete and dragging in a new block piece, right? And already from the paper design, you can see flaws. You go, oh, actually, this doesn't work because of this. Okay, well, we need more space here. And that is only there as a guideline. It's a blueprint, but for you to change and tweak as you see fit. After that, I will then start doing my block out. And after that, I will then go in and start iterating upon it. And that's roughly how it goes down. Now, again, you'll kind of start to go through and find your own that works. There are slight differences. But those are the biggest ones for me, personally. And that's how I get on with it. So, yes, hope that helps. Now, we'll do the last one here. Water Malone asks, what would be your impression on the current state of industrial standard training and education programs for level design? Is lecturing for university or college level design modular ever something you would consider? All right, so there's two questions in that one. My current state, my opinion on the current state, I don't know enough right now. It's been, how long has it been? 6 years since I've left education. So things could have definitely changed a lot since I've been there. So in terms of colleges and universities, unless I sat down through it, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on how I feel about them, just from my own personal experiences. Although, like, everything that happened in university helped me to get to where I am today, I'm also aware that there were things that were wrong with this, and also the amount of debt that you accumulate while at university and college can be very daunting. So there's a few things that I feel on that. So yeah, I don't know enough to really comment on this. I do feel, though, in terms of a level design, it doesn't get the shout out it deserves. I think it is changing from speaking to a few lecturers that I know. And obviously I've met people now who've become lecturers, people I respect very, very much. So I think that they're going to be doing great things to help with that. But yeah, I feel that level design is very much kind of a quick knock on, and there is often a confusion in courses between game and level design when they're very different practices. Obviously, if you're in a smaller team, you can do both, which is great, but I still think your day-to-day practice of level and game design are still very different overall in terms of the skill sets and the trade of it. So yeah. And then the second question was, would I ever consider doing any lecturing? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know, like I said, I know people who've gone off and they seem to enjoy it, but I'm still very early in my career in terms of game development to really consider, what would be after it. I honestly don't know. I know that quite a few lecturers use this as a resource for their students, which is great, and I appreciate that. Maybe one day, I don't know, like I'm saying, it's not something I've considered yet. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? But as of right now, like I said, I'm too early into my career, in my opinion, to be considering about anything else. And I love what I do, honestly. I'm not bitter or jaded about the industry at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing a podcast. I wouldn't be writing about it. I wouldn't write the book that I'm writing about level design. I still love it very much. Of course, there are things that upset me, and it's a shame to see certain things happen in the industry the way that they are. But overall, as a whole, I love what I do, and I'm very fortunate to be able to keep doing this and to expand more of it. Like I said, we're doing the podcast and other things. So yeah, no, I'm happy. Who knows, mate? Who knows? And yeah, we'll see. All right, everyone. It is. Oh man, I've got a blocked nose, and this has been killing me during this. It is the end now, but I look forward to answering some more questions. I'll do this next month as well. So yeah, if you do want to take part in answering questions and helping me, maybe shed some light on something that you want to know more of, then please head over to patreon.com/level design lobby. For only $1, you can join our amazing Discord and chat to the amazing community that we have there. Honestly, some phenomenal people there. If you want to reach out to me elsewhere, I need to stop saying so much. If you want to reach out to me, you can do so on Twitter @MaxPairs. If you want to email into the studio, then you can do so at leveldesignlobby@gmail.com. And I look forward to chatting and hearing from you all again. And so we'll do this next month as well. All right, everyone, take it easy. Catch you all later, and see you next time.